is the Minister of Indigenous Peoples Affairs, Mr. Sidney Allicock. Welcome, sir. Um, Tonight we're going to look at your vision moving forward for indigenous peoples in the country as the minister in charge of that sector. All right.
So I start.
Yes, go ahead.
Miaramang yamadama murebe nadu oneke karu to say to the people out in the Rupununi, especially the North Rupununi, I would like to wish them well for the upcoming heritage celebrations as I continue to work on their behalf in this Ministry of Indigenous Peoples Affairs. You spoke about the vision.
Yes.
The vision for the indigenous peoples. For me, while talking with people for many years, one of the greatest things would be to have our people appropriately educated, meaning that we can never get rid of the natural ways or understanding the laws of nature.
The traditional ways.
The traditional ways.
Yes.
Because this was the way we've survived, by being, let us say, dedicated, being honest, being orderly, having respect for Mother Nature. And for us as a people, we need to be given the opportunity to be educated in our ways and to also be able to have the opportunity to share with the other members of the Guyanese family. Because this life that we have, we cannot live it alone. And we believe in partnership. We believe in working together in a cooperative way, because that's our way. That's the old way. And life means nothing if we cannot understand that we have to work together. So the aim is to have proper institutions created from community level to a higher level of education. And here is where we do not only look at the kindergarten to university angle. We have to look also of how we survive within our means in the communities. That is also a big part of education. Sometimes I look back and I see some young people moving from kindergarten to university, very, very brilliant. But when they're finished or they have a job and they return, they're helpless. They cannot survive in the community. So that is why it is necessary and it is important to understand the natural environment that you grow in, to understand the bigger society so that you could be able at any time or anyhow to be able to survive in this sort of society.
Basically, they must not lose track of where they came from.
They should never. There's an old saying, never cross the bridge that you cross on. And I say this because for many years we have seen an interaction between the young academics coming to do their studies, their doctorates, getting their degrees, and they go into the communities. And you would have someone there or someone's allowing them, showing them what they've come to learn. And in a few years' time, you will hear Dr. Tom or Dr. Marcus or Dr. somebody is there, and our people are still there, but they have the knowledge of how to survive. So the coordination, the understanding and the respect of education, the two-way flow of education is critical for the survival of our indigenous peoples. So we would be working feverishly to have those young people properly rounded to live in today's society. And we have to look at things as if we are developing, let us say, a road or a hydro or some big farming exercise, the indigenous peoples must be a part of the discussions, the planning, and implementation.
And of course, they can pass on that knowledge later on once they're
Correct.
part of the whole project.
Correct.
Yeah.
Because this is about understanding how you take care of the natural environment. Because if we do not take care of the ecosystems, then the ecosystems will not be able to take care of us. And that is the frightening part of today. All these fancy gadgets and stuff like that, we have to be very careful and cautious of how we move into these various areas. It could be more detrimental
And
to
beneficial.
us and more so to the environment. So we have to be, that is the idea of
You want to strike a balance.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
Striking the balance is, putting it in a nutshell,
Yes.
the way to go.
All right. Now, Radio Pyramark. This is an indigenous station. It was the brainchild of the now PM. He was, I think, information minister years ago when he came up with this idea. How important has the radio station been as an indigenous, to reach indigenous people, as a tool to get out views and ideas to them? And how do you see a radio station like that helping indigenous people to move forward with their development?
To be very honest, if you have the experience, you will realize that being out in the interior is totally cut off from the mainstream Guyanese society. You're totally in a different world. Take, for example, elections or cricket or football. You don't follow it until maybe you see an old newspaper or someone comes from Letem or someplace that has an internet connection, and we have very few of those. Then they will hear it's second or third hand news. So communication is critical for us to be part of the Guyanese society. And when the Prime Minister and first Vice President, Mr. Nagamutu, when he was Minister of Information, I think, many years ago, to be able to think that up and give the support, then I think was very far-reaching, because communication is critical for our survival. And for the young people especially, they need to understand where there are opportunities. In addition to that, for the old, we have young people who worked on the radio and will announce in their language. So they are connected, they get connected, they listen, and it brings that wealth of knowledge, so you feel part of the society. And also you grow in confidence, because knowledge is power.
Yes.
So you could be able now to interact. Without such information, you're just listening. And anything that goes to us, we should be part of it. Like I was saying, the road comes, don't allow the road to use you, let us use the road. So instead of being, and it gives us the opportunity, so instead of waiting and hoping for something to happen, you would be in the actual activity.
You're part of it.
You're part of it. And this builds confidence, this builds ownership. And for us, I think there was never a better opportunity than now, because more with the population, this is one of the fastest growing population in Guyana, and we have to find the necessary information needed so that we could be able to partake or be involved in activities that happens nationally.
Do you think we need to go towards another or an expanded range of the radio station, or even more radio stations?
We need more radio stations. The present one at Anai, I think we need a little more expansion, because not actually meeting out to all our people, which they are mostly the Makushis in the north. So everybody is not being met as yet, but there is the potential. Then we have way down in the south, which is some 300, 200 miles way down. That could have another area where we have the Wapishanas and the YYs. And then of course we have Region 1, Region 7 and 8. Those are Patamunas and Arawaks and Arikunas, Caribs. So you need that sort of a radio station, community-based radio station with little programs that will also help the younger people to do their, their CXCs and what have you. Develop some really good programs, and this helps a great deal until probably the television will come. We have the learning channel.
Yes.
That could work as long as we arrange it properly.
And it to be translated, of
Yes,
course,
yes.
into the dialect.
Yes, all of that, because we don't really call it a dialect, because it was we communicated before Christopher Columbus came, or even English came into being. So we call it our language. That was our way of communicating, and that is how we see language, a communicating mechanism to understand, to
Understand each other.
Yes. So we don't say dialect. I think people use that in a sort of derogatory manner.
Yeah, because each tribe will have their own language. They have their own language.
Yes, correct. So definitely, and you give the young people an opportunity to keep the language going, keep the culture going, practice their English, and have a better way of teaching on the radio. So the radio operation is very, very crucial to our everyday life. And it also will bring benefits economically, because people could be selling radios. I remember when this thing started the very first time, you had a few radios, and families, 4 or 5 families will come and listen to this one radio. And was such a joy to see people, their expression when the radio announcer will call their names, and you say, how are you?
Greeting or
yes,
something,
body greetings and so on. And one of the first persons there is an ex-teacher, now a past teacher, retired teacher, by the name of Virgil Harding. And he's still there. We have another elder who is by the name of Mr. Adam Nash. Well, he knows the Makushi fluently, and he would express himself there and talk to the old people, and they just feel good about the whole thing. It is a psychological thing when people know that you're recognizing them, they feel good about it. And that's what life should be all about. Living life to its fullest. Feel needed. Feel a part of the whole society. And that radio brings that story there. Another very good program was like Eye on the Environment, because of burning, or because they're bringing that consciousness to us who
Preserving the environment.
Yeah, we might be taking things for granted, thinking that the whole world is like this, but it's not quite so. And you have the low carbon development strategy. We've been living the life, but just the words are different now. But it means the same our way of life, you know. The other thing is that we have this, there was this program um, where they would talk about violence, and so and that Morondai,
Okay,
yeah,
yes.
Morondai is
Everyday issues,
yes,
domestic issues, and so
yes,
on.
and
Yes.
that was a really really wonderful program that helps the young people to understand more about what life is. So that sort of information and interaction is critical, especially in a growing society, especially in these, if we are going to survive in this modern, call it modern, so-called modern world. But also we could share with others. And the more we could hear from what is happening in Georgetown, I think our people would be able to have programs even coming in to Georgetown to bridge that gap where our youths are sort of apart. And I believe the more work we could do in trying to bring across that message, the more our young people, the more Guyanese will understand that we are valuable, that Guyana is special, but we have never put a value to this beautiful country of ours. And now is the time, I think.
We talk about now the just concluded Two Shows conference. How did
Yes.
that go?
Well, being a minister of Indigenous Peoples Affairs, it has been a challenge. The government had put up a 10-point program in which the natural resources and indigenous peoples' rights was part of this 100-day plan, which we pulled off just about 3 days before the end of the 100 days. And I am very happy for all the Tushas who came, all those who were invited, who partook in the decision and discussions of matters pertaining to the indigenous people's rights and their resources. The ideas are really rich, and I feel so happy that I believe that we could move forward on this with this new, I call it new vibration or new
Dispensation.
dispensation, correct.
Yes, that's a word.
And I am so happy that I saw so many of my old friends. I have seen so many young people, and I see the interest. And for the two shows, I want to congratulate them for ensuring or having the National Two Shows Council executive body. And from all signs, I think they're very serious, and I do look forward, the ministry do look forward to working with them so that we could get the work done. In addition to that, we are moving in now into the Indigenous Heritage Month, which starts from September, the beginning of September, and there are a number of activities that will be occurring, and everybody, you're invited if you're in Georgetown or wherever you would be. If there are activities there, you just have to take the time off to ensure that you get part of the action. So one of the other things that the focus would be on is to rebuild the Humaniana, and I'm just hoping that we will again get the YYs. Well, of course, we have a number of persons here in St. Cuthbert, in Morai-Kobai. They are where the timber and the materials are for.
And they're ready to go.
They're ready. I'm quite certain they're ready. I've been talking to some of them, and we're just waiting for the opportunity. So to everybody else, I feel very confident. I have a team at the ministry. I am very proud of them. They're very confident and capable, and that's what I need as their minister, to have that togetherness, or else we wouldn't be able to pull it off. But I feel very confident that we could move very quickly into the other activities. Having budget now being completed, I think we are ready to move.